first I needed to be in the forest for 4 days in my vision quest. There I found out that the fear of being alone is just a concept, and the fear of darkness as well. And I was just called, I was called to be there because sometime, few years ago, I was not able to be on my own with my thoughts. The darkroom retreat just called me to be there, you know. So I listened to that calling, and it was such a wonderful experience. You have 8 days and 7 nights with yourself, and you have such an abundance of time to be with everything what comes. May it be a thought, may it be a dream, a vision, an encounter with someone. It was filled with such kind of experience. Yeah.
Welcome to Winning the Divine Lottery. I'm your host, Amy Dawes.
I have a very special guest with me today. I can see your smiling face, and I'm already lit up from the inside out, Vladimir. We connected a couple of years ago, and just recently, you did me a huge favor and blessing and
Mm.
recorded a short video for the men's ceremony that I recently held. And the metaphor of the story that you shared was so touching. And I
Mm.
really feel like potent medicine for anybody. And maybe we'll get into that today. But I would just love to open up this space and share how when I'm with you, I mean, you can just feel it. You have so much love. You have so much soul and compassion I can feel for your life, your journey, for your family, for all the people that come into your presence. And I can't wait for everybody to get to feel that and experience that on this episode today. So, welcome, Vladimir. Would you mind sharing where you're from? Because part of my heart gets so excited that we have Zoom and the internet to be able to connect in this way, because without it, this would not be happening.
Mm. Hello, Amy. Hello, dear listeners and dear audience. I am so honored, and I'm so deeply touched by your words from the start of this discussion. Thank you very much again. I am from Slovakia, from the heart of Europe, and as you said, we were connected some time ago around the Being movement, the worldwide group of 10,000 people plus, and we've been matched in the connection bingo, and it's been such a profound, deep connection of our souls that we just, yeah, we have this bond, and I'm grateful that we have it because it allowed such a beautiful creation, as you mentioned, this video of my life story for the Courageous Man ceremony, which was such a gift for me and for many. So thank you very much, and also for expressing what's in the space. I am the mirror, so I see that same as you. When we are together in the space, it is so great. It's love, it's compassion, it's deep connection. It's wow. It's mind blowing. Thank you very much, Amy. Glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Beautiful. Okay, so what's landing right away is the two words open heart, which you recently named your business, which you shared that you channeled in a dark room. Can we just start off there? Let's start in the dark room. What led you to your dark room and share what that experience was like?
Hmm. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful question. So I am studying a spiritual school called Advaita. And I have a teacher for this. And for 3 years, I was getting myself ready to enter the dark room because I had this on my bucket list for a long time. Yet, on the same time, I was afraid of the darkness and I was afraid of being on my own. So first, I needed to be in the forest for 4 days in my vision quest. There, I found out that that the fear of being alone is just a concept, and the fear of darkness as well. And then I received it as a gift from my wonderful, loving wife, Gabriela, to my 40th birthday. And it was in this transformational year in December. And I was just called, I was called to be there because few years ago, I was not able to be on my own with my thoughts because I was getting crazy. But as I was doing this inner work and a lot of different forms of solitude, I heard this deep calling of experiencing this kind of retreat. So in December 2022, in one of the most transformational years of my life, around the birthday of my 40th, and I got this sciatic nerve inflammation and 3 months of being on my own at home, just contemplating about my life. It was the very same year. The darkroom retreat just called me to be there, So I listened to that calling, and it was such a wonderful experience. You have 8 days and 7 nights with yourself, and you have such an abundance of time to be with everything what comes. May it be a thought, may it be a dream, a vision, an encounter with someone. It was filled with such kind of experience. Yeah. So for example, on the day first, I I was seeing the situations with all women in my life that I was not behaving as I would like to, that I did some kind of wounds or some kinds of issues. All those women were coming up, and I was just doing acceptance and deep forgiveness with each and every one of them. That was the day one. Then on the day two, I've seen the main theme. I was uh, that was stopping me from entering my own business because my father lost his own business 20 years ago. And when he did this, he somehow was he was he had challenged how to accept it and how to go through that period. So I was pretty much afraid of him that time, that how he can handle this. And at the end he did. But somehow I was a bit angry that he didn't try it again, because he went into early retirement and he didn't try it again. And somehow that fear of failure or fear of having the same situation was stopping me from entering to my own business, which I was planning for a long time. And I saw the pattern inside of this dark room. It came so clearly to me that as I'm angry about he not trying again and something like losing himself. I was doing the same when my health was coming, when my health issues were coming. I was also like being in a victim mode and losing hope and everything. And I just simply saw the same pattern. And same as with the first day, I was all day I was accepting, forgiving myself, forgiving him, and just being in this space of accepting and forgiving. And then something moved. So that was day two, for example. And then from the day three, I started to receive the visions of what kind of work I will be doing, that I will be working with leaders and groups and teams and CEOs and owners. The name of the company got channeled. It was just like a miracle. I was there and it simply came. Oh, your company will be named OpenHeart Coaching and Consulting. And it was so beautiful, so touching. And who am I to say if it's right or wrong? So I just said, of course, thank you. And I was grateful for the experience. And for the rest of the days, I was just like, it you start to lose a bit of sense of time, and it's the borders of when are you dreaming, when are you meditating, when are you contemplating, when you have some kind of lucid dreaming. These borders become a bit like floating. So for the rest of the time, it was about that. And then on days, I think it was day 6 or day 7, I think it was day 6, Sunday, and Sunday is our family day. So I started to miss my family so much. I was really thinking on cutting it earlier and going back home, but I had a guide. My spiritual Advaita teacher was with me every day for a supportive discussion, and we somehow concluded that it might be, the ego never wants to enter the river, yes, where it got melted. So that might be some kind of a fear. And at the end, I stayed. And there was also one very interesting dream or vision, or I don't know what exactly it was. I have met with the death, and the death was symbolically a very beautiful woman, and we had a very deep encounter. And symbolically, this meant for me that it must not be terrifying, that this kind of transition could be also a beautiful experience. So that was very profound. And at the end of these 7 days, 8 days, 7 nights, I walked out and I had such a sense of clarity, you know. It's like it was, if you are so generous with the time for yourself and with being present with whatever is, and just not judging, accepting, and being there and holding space for yourself in a compassionate way, then the result was, it was some kind of initiation. Yeah, someone else entered the room and someone else left the room at the end. So that was my darkroom experience. Thank you very much for the question.
Oh, I have so much that I want to say about that. First, I really absolutely love that this is providing a different experience on something that I talk about a lot on my podcast, which is sitting with oneself and getting to know thyself, right? And you just happen to do it for 8 days in the dark. And so it's providing our listeners for another way and another kind of like painting, a picture of what can happen. And I absolutely so much admire and acknowledge that you chose to say, if you are generous with yourself, with the time that you give yourself, because to somebody else coming in and hearing this, they might think that would be hell sitting in a dark room for 8 hours, like for 8 days in the darkness and have to be with myself. As you said, there was a point in your life, right, where that would not be something that you would do. And so my heart just is feeling all of these different beings at different places in their life. And it just goes to show you that if you can make it, I'm using your experience. If you can make it through the first 2 days, right? Because that was kind of when all the patterns came up and you were just able to lovingly accept, forgive, accept, forgive, accept, forgive. And then after that, it just reminds me of like a deep meditation where eventually you go beyond yourself, right? Like you go beyond your patterns, you go beyond the ego. And then that's beyond time and space. And
Mm,
so there is no really, like you said, borders between visions and dreams and contemplation and reflection. And even shamans talk about this, like a dream and a vision are the same, right? So I love this so much, and I feel so inspired to invite whoever is listening in that you don't have to do it for 8 days, but hey, if this is your calling right now, this is your sign. Like, go have a dark experience. However, it can start with 15 minutes, of sitting with your eyes closed in meditation and just sitting and listening and knowing from personal experience and from your experience, Vladimir, that we aren't our thoughts. We
mm,
aren't our patterns, right? Those are all there to show us where we can evolve and expand and grow. And just like you said, you entered one way and you left
mm,
another. And I love this so much for you.
mm. Thank you very much. And I have a lot of compassion for anyone that is is having fears about this or some kind of concepts or judgments, it's okay. I was the same. When you would tell me 5 years ago that you will go in 5 years for 7 days to darkness, I will ask you if you lost your mind. Yeah.
Hey there, I just wanted to take a moment to share something that's really close to my heart. My book, God's Dog: How to See the Gift of Life at All Experiences, is about finding meaning in even the hardest moments. It's inspired by my dog, Jersey, and the profound lessons she taught me through love, loss, and transformation. If you're looking for a book that invites you to see life through a more beautiful lens, I'd love for you to check it out. You can find it on Amazon. Thanks so much for allowing me to share this little piece of my heart with you. Yeah.
Maybe more than that, because it all my transformation started 10 years ago with the injury. Yeah, it was a hardly broken right leg, and that stopped me because it was like a big stop from life and a warning from God to reflect and to think how I was living my life. And I mark a new beginning 10 years ago. Yeah, so maybe it was before that, but yeah, I have a lot of compassion for people that are having their thoughts about this, because it's fine. It's not for everybody as well. You need to know yourself, and it needs to be your kind of knowing yourself, or way through that. Someone just goes to the forest, and someone just has time on his own, or is carving something from wood, or whatever. I think that whatever is calling you, and where you can find your flow, and use your talents, and forget about the time, and it's you feel that is fulfilling you, then that's your thing. And whatever it is, just go find it and do it, and it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, yeah, I love that you touched on that. It's so true. What do you feel? I mean, I can feel the energy of it, but in, I guess, words, what is open heart? Like, what does your business stand for other than an open heart? Like, who are you being in your
Mm,
business is a good question.
thank you. It's such a wonderful question. Thank you very much. So I would start with my vision of the world. you know and this is pretty much coming from my long years of leadership experience. I believe that we are spending about 30% of our life in work. Yes. And I have a vision of the world where, if more leaders will open their hearts and will become aware what kind of impact they're creating for their people, for their families, and for the world around us, then we might see something else than we see now. You know, and I see the future coming where the traditional hierarchical organizations will no longer serve us. We will be having communities, we will be having circles, we will be having shared responsibilities, and we will be working towards the common vision. And we will be all equal. So this is kind of the world where what I'm envisioning and seeing. And I see that we as a leaders, we are the ones that are shaping this. And out of my own example of a transformation from being like a completely driven by the idea that success in work means happy life, and not being in touch with myself at all, with who am I being as a father, as a husband, as a leader. None of that was present before the injury. Like the level of transformation and all that, what I discovered inside myself when I started to look inside instead of finding the answers in the outside world. This is something that I am called through that purpose to offer to others, because that didn't came overnight. It was a process of 8 years. It was around 2016 when I discovered this concept of ikigai, this personal purpose. It's something that is your passion, you love it. The world needs it. It could be your work, and it could be paid. So what's inside of these four circles is your personal purpose. And I was so flattered, and I was so charmed by the idea that once you find this, you just be yourself for the rest of your life, and you don't need to work, and you are experiencing flow. And that was in 2016, and I made myself a promise that I'll not stop until I find it. And this took 8 years, and it was last year in summer. We've been for 4 weeks in Hvar Island in Croatia. 2 weeks was holiday, and 2 weeks was this retreat from our Advaita school. And I remember I was sitting on the terrace looking at the sea, and then just simply all clicked together, and that purpose came. Again, same as the name of the company, it was channeled. So I felt inside that, okay, I open hearts of leaders and raise the culture of organizations for this world to be a better place. So that's the story of my purpose, and that's why it's Open Heart.
That's so beautiful. The entire time you were speaking, I had chills. And also this vision that you speak of, like the end of hierarchy in leadership and the beginning of love leadership, of leadership with love, from love, being love. I mean, imagine, right? And it's already happening.
It
It's
is.
already happening in a lot of leaders. I really feel that the hierarchy is currently not serving us. So, yeah, I love that so much, Vladimir. I'm basking in that energy. And there was something else. Oh, ikigai. Am I saying it correctly? Because I have heard that before, but I
Yes.
can't quite remember this four pieces. Do you know them? Would you be able to say them out loud for our listeners in case they're intrigued and want to do some research?
Yes, it's the Japanese people are using this word as the expression for the sense of life, the sense of purpose, something that is inspiring you to stand up from bed every day. And inside these four circles, let me just find it exactly. So it is something that you love, that is your passion, that is your flow. You would do it all day long without being exhausted. It's very energizing. It's something that you truly love. In my case, it's coaching and facilitating group workshops. I'm forgetting completely about the time. Then it's something that you are good at. That it is your natural talent. You don't need much effort. It's effortless. You love it and you just can do it. You have the ability. Then the third circle is that you can be paid for it. It could be your profession. Yes. And the fourth one is that the world needs it.
Yeah.
And what's inside those four circles is your ikigai. And the idea
What's
is just
what's the second one for you? The first one you said was coaching, and the second one was what? That
and
comes
the second
naturally,
one,
effortlessly.
yes, the second one is holding the space in a group. When I'm facilitating a workshop, it's so much more than just teaching something. I'm holding the space according to the principles of transparent circle communication that I learned from a friend from Czech Republic, and I have many years of experience about that. And it's not me doing anything. It's something bigger than myself, and through me it's coming. And the less I stand in the way, the more it's happening. And it's creating psychological safety where everyone can feel accepted, and we're not judging. We're practicing how to listen with our hearts, how to speak from our heart, how to honor this authentic impulse which is coming when it's your time to share. You feel your heart beat stronger, or something else. We commit that it stays, whatever is being said, it stays there. So that gives us a feeling of safety.
Mm.
Yeah, so these are the principles. And when I'm in the space like that, again, I lose myself. I lose the sense of time. I connect with something bigger, and I just love to do it simply. And around those two things, I figured out, okay, what could it be? How I can serve the world, how I can be useful. And then combined with nearly 20 years of leadership experience, I found out this many years ago when I started this process, that what is it that I truly love as a leader? And I found out it's holding the space for others so they can grow.
Yeah.
And if I was witnessing how people can reach their potential when someone is cheering them and supporting them and holding the space and believing in them, that
Mhm.
was so fulfilling, you know. So these are the base of how I found it. And of course it's also not happening overnight, you know. A lot of patience is needed, a lot of trust, a lot of belief. And sometimes, you know, when I speak about this, some people are looking to me like, from which planet I came, you know, to believe that such things could even be real, you know. So yeah, it's not easy, but once you find this and you connect with this and you taste that essence, I cannot think of anything else that I would rather do like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm with you. And I mean, you're speaking my language, so I'm not one of those people wondering which planet you're from. You know? I love this so much, and you and I have a lot in common with the holding space. Um, I just love this conversation. Like it's gonna inspire something in everybody listening in one way or another. Like I can feel that because you were an essence when you talked about tasting essence to me, that is like the most rich, fulfilling, satisfying. We can't even like, it's not even tactile, but it's so real. It's more real than what your ego could conjure up. And that is like taking what God made us to be and giving that as a gift back to the world, and to know that we can be fully ourselves and do what we love and serve and be paid for it. That is a completely different system than the systems we look at right now, from 9 to 5 to politics to everything else, right? So imagine that. Like I just say, like, imagine that. Like I can feel the vibration and the frequency of living in a world where it's just more and more people are doing that.
And it's happening, you
Yeah.
know, happening. And once we find this, I don't even think that it's a choice. I would say it's a sacred obligation that we step into this and we serve the world from this place,
Yeah.
because that's what we meant. That this is the purpose why we came to this place,
Yeah.
you know. So I would genuinely, I would wish for everyone to, and I don't know, it doesn't matter if it's earlier or later. It could be in your 60s, whatever. Just don't stop to find this, because once you find it, then you truly connect with that who you are, and your life just becomes effortless.
Yeah. And that's a word that I think sounds very cliche and magical to some people, but it's so real. Like it's so real. I have in my life, I've been able to distinctively look back and seen where I've created from a place of effortlessness and also a lot of effort. And there are distinct things to show you what one is and what the other one is. And I truly feel the effortless way is the divinity. It's the divinity within us. It's when we are totally surrendering and open and allowing to what life actually has for us right now in this moment, just kind of like what we talked about before we pressed record, right? I
Hmm.
said this moment is always so generous if we
Hmm.
just get out of the way and co-create with it and listen.
But we also have to say, Amy, I feel that important to say that it's the process of knowing ourselves and coming to that point is not always just a walk in the sunshine. Yes,
Oh,
we have to say also the other side, and that's walking through the valley of shadow and confronting that part of us that we don't want to see, you know. And I think this kind of darkness is also very much present, and we need to accept that part of us. And for example, because now it sounds like, you know, like rainbows and unicorns, yes, but it also has this other side. And for me, the last 2 years have been such a deep dive into this valley, of desperation, of nearly, yeah, bordering with depression, uh, sometimes losing hope, sometimes feeling that, my God, this is endless, sometimes being many fears present as well. So it goes hand in hand, and we are discovering the new level of wholeness, and through that new level of wholeness, it's both sides are present. So also, deep grounding and connecting with our roots, and feeling this lower side is also very important in that process, I would say.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I mean, I too in the last couple of years have experienced lots of those. I've experienced more than one dark night of the soul.
Mm,
And again, it just goes back to being able to sit with yourself and embrace all aspects of you and love yourself and accept yourself. And that's a lifelong journey, right? Because I truly believe we're always being initiated in
mm,
some way.
mm.
And it's not always fun. It's very uncomfortable. Growth usually is uncomfortable.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Well, this has been a really incredible conversation. I could talk to you for hours.
Mm.
There are a
So,
couple of questions I'd like to ask you, though.
yeah, please go on.
Okay, so I ask every guest this. When you hear winning the divine lottery, what
Mm,
does that mean for you in your heart?
mm, mm. This is such a beautiful question. Thank you very much. I think that what is coming to me now is that winning the divine lottery is exactly that process that I'm inside now, finding this place inside you where you feel at home, where you feel that, okay, from here I am perfect, complete, and whole. Nothing is missing. And it's not a mental concept, but it's embodied experience. And this for me is whenever you are blessed to come into the place like that and experience this for yourself, then this, I would say, is for me what defines the wording winning the divine lottery right now.
Beautiful. If you had to title this next chapter of your life and we were reading your book, what's the first thing that just pops in for you that you would call it?
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. I have a friend, and he is having an expression that for the first half of our life, we are dancing the dance of survival. And in the second part of our life, we're dancing the dance of creation.
Mm,
So I would say the next chapter is the dance of creation.
I love that so much. Thank you. And one final question. If you could sum up in, just a couple sentences, the greatest wisdom that you feel that you've uncovered in your life up until now, what would that be?
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. So unexpected and so deep. I would need to contemplate about this question. But no, the biggest wisdom that I discovered until now would be that the cause of everything that I'm experiencing inside my life is within myself. That that my world is the mirror and the reflection of my inside, and that whatever is present, I am the creator of it, and I'm taking full responsibility for whatever I see. This understanding and this experience, I think, was the most profound and most life-changing over the last few years.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Are there any final comments anything that's in your heart right now that you just want to share before we close?
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much, Amy. I would just say that be compassionate with yourself and follow the intuition, follow the inner voice, and be patient with yourself and with life. This is what I would wish to everyone, first to myself and then to everyone who is listening. And thank you so much. My heart is filled with gratitude and joy and love and the power of connection. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Amy. This was such a great experience.
It's been so beautiful. Thank you, Vladimir.
Thanks for listening. If this inspired you in any way, please share it with a friend. Thank you.